Welcome to our e-lecture. The topic is conspicuous consumption. The title of our article is Going Green to be Seen.
So if you want to, you got the green light. So if you want to, you got the green light. So if you want to, you got the green light.
So, green supermarket. Yep, expensive products. Doesn't even look nice, right? Normal supermarket. Looks better, right, these products, and it's cheaper. Looks nice. You could have 3. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Why would people buy green products?
Welcome everyone. I see there are only a couple of you. How sad, because it's such an interesting topic. Nonetheless, I hope you guys will participate as much as you can and ask questions if you have them, alright? Now, let's get started. 100 years before Christ, Publius Cyrus already said it. A good reputation is more valuable than money. And guess what? This is still relevant today. Even though the means of how to best achieve this good reputation may have changed a little bit over time. Traditional approaches associate a good reputation or status with preferences for luxury and self-indulgence. Think about luxurious cars like Lamborghinis, for example. In order to better understand consumers' behavior, Christophesius and his fellow researchers made an important assumption. They argued that activating status motives can actually lead people to shy away from luxury and instead choose self-sacrificing to attain status.
Sorry, Professor, I don't think I understand. How can self-sacrifice lead to a higher status?
Glad you asked. By self-sacrificing, you can actually make a very powerful statement. According to Maynard, it shows the world that you care. Research into competitive altruism supports this argument that conspicuous displays of altruism can function to build and maintain costly prosocial reputations or status. The research paper discussed today contributes to a better understanding of these links between altruism, status, and conservation. In addition, it provides the first test of whether activating status motives can be a viable strategy for promoting pro-environmental behavior. Now, maybe you're wondering, why even bother researching this? Well, I tell you, just consider all the detrimental environmental effects produced by pollution, overpopulation, and depletion of natural resources. Now imagine what we can do about this.
Promoting pro-environmental behavior?
Exactly, but unfortunately this isn't as easy as it seems. Numerous scholars and public officials have called for an increased urgency in motivating people to engage in pro-environmental behaviors. Even though green options are becoming more widely available, many barriers to change still remain. You know why? People are reluctant to change familiar patterns of behavior. Three main theories are taken into consideration when explaining why people will buy greener product options, even though changing their familiar patterns is hard to do. First, you have the environmental concern perspective, that says that people are presumed to engage in conservation primarily because they, at some level, intrinsically care about the well-being of the planet and its inhabitants. If this were true, then it would be best to better inform people about the plight of the environment to get people to choose the greener options. Secondly, you have the rational economic perspective, which suggests that conservation is primarily driven by economic reasons. It would therefore be helpful to make green products cheaper, more efficient, and to provide the consumers with financial incentives, for example tax breaks, to buy them. Last but certainly not least, you have the socially oriented motives, which may actually be even more powerful at influencing people's tendencies to conserve. This is because people appear to be particularly sensitive to the social and reputational aspects of conservation and cooperation.
You mean showing that you care? And by doing this, achieving a higher social status?
Yes, engaging in prosocial behaviors such as environmental conservation signals to others that you're prosocial rather than a pro-self individual, which enhances a social reputation. Such individuals are not only seen as more trustworthy, but they are more desirable as friends, allies, and romantic partners. The notion that prosocial individuals are desirable to have in positions of power suggests that prosocial behavior may be a viable strategy for attaining status. Although status can be achieved through dominance, for example by force, we will in this lecture focus on status as achieved through prestige, meaning that status is gained through freely conferred deference. This concept of competitive altruism, which means competing for status by trying to be seen as relatively more altruistic than others, is seen by many different people over the years. Take for example the Native American tribal chiefs. The one who is able to give away the most resources is regarded as the highest standing member in the group.
But does that not go against the theory of rational economic perspective that we just discussed?
Well, that's very sharp of you. The prevalence of competitive altruism does present kind of a theoretical conundrum. It indeed goes against rational economic perspective because altruism depletes the giver's resources. Therefore, it might be a bit difficult why people would choose green products over luxurious products. However, there is an explanation and it stems from costly signaling theory. According to a costly signaling perspective, an altruistic act is a communicative signal. This signal, however, communicates more than a person's prosociality. Altruism can also signal an individual's ability to incur costs. For example, you're not only buying a green car for a better environment, you also show that you can afford to allocate resources that don't only serve the self. Costly signaling theory suggests that people might engage in costly prosocial behaviors, such as environmental conservation, particularly when they are motivated to attain status. We can see this in the animal kingdom as well. For example, the bird species, Arabian babblers, compete to be the group sentinel, a dangerous job to watch out for predators and with a low survival chance. Still, these birds will fight for this position because it shows they are not only altruistic, but that they can also incur probable costs. In this case, the probability of death. If that doesn't give you a badass reputation, then what will? This research examines how activating status motives influence product choices. People are choosing between relatively luxurious non-green products that primarily serve the self and less luxurious green products that can benefit society. This will stay the same for all three experiments. A choice has to be made between a green product that is not luxurious and a non-green product that is luxurious. From now on, we will refer to the two types as green product and luxury product.
But I would definitely go for the lux. I like all the comfort from good products.
But wait, that would be a little bit selfish, right? You should also think about other people.
But
And
who really cares about...
Let's continue, shall we? Come on. There are two perspectives that try to explain how people could behave in this situation. The traditional perspective and costly signaling perspective. The traditional perspective states that status motives should lead people to choose a luxury product. People will enjoy the performance of the product more, and luxury products are associated with greater wealth as well. And the costly signaling theory states motives should lead people to self-sacrifice and choose the green product. Experiment 1. The first study examined how activating status motives influence choices between luxury products and green products. Take notice that the products are equally priced and from the same brand. 168 participants participated in the study, of which 65 people were men and 103 people were women. Participants were divided into two conditions, the control and the status condition. Participants were told that they would participate in several studies and that the first was about memory. People were asked to read a short story. To cover up the real goal of the research, they were told that later on in the study they had to recall this information. But actually the story was the manipulation. The story was already tested before this study.
That was clever, right?
In the status condition, status motives were elicited. They read about the first day at work, focusing on high status features such as an upscale lobby and that they will have an opportunity to receive a desirable promotion.
Oh yes, I want a promotion.
In the control condition, they read a story about losing a ticket to an upcoming concert and searching for the ticket throughout the house. After the manipulation, participants were asked to consider they were out shopping for a car, a household cleaner, and a dishwasher. They could pick from a luxury product that was superior on dimensions of luxury and performance, or a green product that was superior on pro-environmental dimensions. All the other factors were kept the same as much as possible. The price was the same, they were manufactured by the same company. The predictions were that participants in the control condition would choose the luxury products, and that in the status motives condition, participants would choose the green products. The self-sacrifice would indirectly enhance status. In this table, you can see the results, showing the percentage of participants choosing the green product. As you can see, in the control condition, only approximately 35% chose the green car. In the status condition, 55% chose the green car. You can see that in the status condition, a higher percentage of participants choose the green product than participants in the control condition. Therefore, we can conclude that activating status led people to increase the likelihood of choosing pro-environmental green products over more luxurious non-green products. Eliciting status might be an effective way to motivate people to engage in pro-environmental, self-sacrificing behavior.
So, let me get this straight. People care about what other people think of them, which might be one of the reasons why some choose green products over the more luxurious ones. However, I almost buy all my stuff online. Doesn't that matter too? I mean, no one is there to judge.
Well, that's exactly what costly signaling theory states. It says that one of the factors on how status motives influence purchasing decisions depends on if the purchase is public or private. Hence, experiment 2. 93 students participated, in which 58 people were men and 35 people were women. Both groups were of the same story as in the first study. The difference between public versus private was created by asking, imagine shopping at a store versus imagine shopping online by yourself at home. There were 3 products they had to imagine shopping for: a backpack, batteries, and a table lamp. There was a green and a luxurious option. Same price, same company. The researchers predicted that when status motives are activated, people who shop publicly would be more tended to buy green products than people who are shopping privately. Take a look at Table 2 and consider that a rating of 5.0 represents equal attractiveness between a luxury and green product. The mean rating of 3.4 in the control condition suggests that people generally prefer the more luxurious product. Looking at the status motives group, analysis revealed again a significant interaction. Shopping in public increased preferences for green products compared to the control condition. However, and this is the interesting part, when shopping in private, status motives showed a different effect. They decreased preferences for green products relative to such preferences in control conditions. In conclusion, status motives increased attractiveness of pro-environmental products only when people were shopping in public. When shopping in private, the same exact status motives desired to move up in the world led people to say, I don't want the green thing, I want the stuff that's going to make me feel good. So only and as soon as you have a pair of eyes on you, that's when you get the result that status motives made people to be more green, more prosocial.
Hold on a second. Sorry, I have a question. What I still don't really understand is how a green product, which is in all things not luxurious or better at performance, can be associated with status.
Indeed, some researchers state being pro-environmental, for example taking public transport or recycling, is related with lower status. However, one important factor that has not yet been taken into account is price. Remember that in the previous 2 experiments, price and brand were the same. According to the researchers, one could argue that when prices are different from each other, this will affect the results. Following the rational economic perspective, making green products cheaper makes them more attractive. However, the costly signaling framework states something else. It says that lowering the price of green products creates a dilemma. Buying a cheaper green product signals that the person cannot afford the pricier luxury product. Experiment 3 may fully answer your question. It examined how status motives influenced attractiveness of green versus luxury products when the price of the green product was lower or higher than the luxury product. In this experiment, 156 students participated, of which 50 people were men and 106 were women. Note that in this experiment, shopping takes place in the real world. Participants had to choose between a green and a luxury option of the following 3 products: a car, a backpack, and a dishwasher. Prices between the 2 options differed by about 20%. In the control group, green products were more attractive when they were cheaper than the luxury product.
Oh, so the rational economic perspective was right that lowering the price of a green product makes them more desirable.
Well, you have a point there, but remember this was the control condition. Now we're going to take a look at the condition where status motives were activated. Looking at this group, it showed that preferences for green products depended on the relative price of those products. When green products were more expensive, status motives increased the desire for green products. However, when green products were cheaper as a luxury product, status motives did not increase the desire for green products. An explanation is that choosing the cheaper green product could undermine the signaling of resources. In addition, it showed that the status motives decreased the desire for cheaper green products in comparison with the control condition. However, this effect did not reach significant levels.
Credits go to the costly signaling framework.
Yes, well, to sum up, status motives led people to choose green products when they cost more than their luxury counterparts. And when they cost less, it actually somewhat decreased the desire for the inexpensive, pro-environmental products. This implicates that even though affordable green products are more efficient at helping the environment, the purchase of such inexpensive green products might undermine a person's ability to signal his or her wealth via pro-environmental acts. Indeed, consistent with a costly signaling perspective on altruism, a desire for status elicited prosocial tendencies, especially when the prosocial acts were costly. Okay guys, now please note that down. In some, costly signaling theory suggests that pro-environmental decisions are made because people want to act altruistic, showing that you can miss something in resources like time, money or quality of a product indirectly induces status. Prosocial products are often less luxury, but act as adverts for prosocial meaning. An example of this is buying a green car instead of a luxury red Ferrari. However, prosocial products tend to have a premium on them, and therefore buyers can still display wealth and status when buying a prosocial product. So the conclusions from the experiments. Experiment 1 shows that activating status motives increase the likelihood of choosing a pro-environmental green product over a more luxurious non-green product. Eliciting status might be an effective way to motivate people to engage in pro-environmental, self-sacrificing behavior. Experiment 2 shows the moderation of public versus private shopping. Activating status motives only increased the attractiveness of pro-environmental products when people were shopping in public. Activating status motives when shopping in private had worse results than in a control condition. People indulged on luxury products good for the self. Last but not least, experiment 3 shows the moderation of price. In a control condition, when green products were cheaper, participants find them more attractive. This is in line with the rational economic perspective. In the status condition, however, green products were preferred when they were more expensive, which is in line with the costly signaling theory. So the practical implications from this research is that status motives can be effective strategies for promoting pro-environmental or other types of prosocial behavior. Companies market their prosocial products through prestigious events with celebrities or people who can lead a trend. Some extreme prosocial consumers even prefer a rare or unique product, even if it's inefficient. For example, electric cars that only have a few charging points. Regardless of it being a struggle, people still prefer the uniqueness of the product. However, it is important to take into account that prosocial trends in different countries and cultures might be different. In China, the prosocial thing to do could be an anti-environmental, such as building a factory near the village to provide jobs. There are also some explications for this phenomenon. For instance, status motives could influence people who want to be unique and up-to-date. But, on the other hand, prosocial goods can help others become altruistic. And as well, there are some limitations of this paper and advices for the future of directions. The first limitation is that men are generally more show-off types than women.
Duh, we already knew that.
And care about more status and engage more in show-off.
Yeah.
However, according to representative groups in presented studies, women were also motivated by enhancing status in a similar way.
Yeah, well.
So in conclusion, a good reputation is more important than money, but they are often correlated. And a desire for status can actually spur self-sacrifice and be a powerful tool for motivating prosocial and pro-environmental action.
So if you want to, you got the green light.